A new study is raising a serious warning about anti-Indian hate online in the United States. The big issue is not just that the rhetoric is spreading. It is that a small number of highly active accounts may be driving a huge share of the attention. And that matters, because when online hostility gets amplified, it can shape public perception far beyond the original posts. Here's what we know so far. Researchers at the Network Contagion Research Institute, or NCRI, say anti-Indian posts on X tripled over the past year and reached more than 300 million views. They also identified more than 24,000 posts containing anti-Indian rhetoric. But the most important detail is this. Just 3 users were responsible for a significant share of the engagement, including millions of likes, views, and reposts.
So what does that mean in plain English? It means a trend can look much bigger when a few accounts keep pushing the same message over and over. That does not make the hate less real. It just means the loudest voices online are not always the largest group offline. Now here's the part most people miss. This study is not saying every post about Indian Americans, H-1B visas, or U.S. immigration is hateful. It is pointing to a surge in hostile rhetoric, especially around identity and politics. Those are very different things. One is policy debate. The other is racist abuse. Who is affected? First, Indian Americans who are seeing more abuse, more stereotyping, and more targeted harassment online. Second, people in the immigration conversation, especially H-1B workers and tech professionals who are often pulled into these debates, even when they are not public figures. Third, Indian American leaders and public personalities who can become easy targets when conversations turn political. Who is not automatically affected? Not every Indian American, not every immigration discussion, and not every criticism of policy. Myth versus reality. Criticism of a visa program is not the same thing as hate toward a people. But once the language shifts from policy to race, nationality, or slurs, that crosses the line. The study says the hostility appears to have intensified after immigration policy debates in the U.S., including proposals tied to stricter H-1B rules. That timing matters. When a policy topic becomes emotionally charged, online platforms often reward the most extreme voices. Anger gets clicks, outrage gets reposts, and then a small cluster of accounts can push a message into millions of feeds. Here's another thing to watch. The study says figures such as Sriram Krishnan, Vivek Ramaswamy, Kash Patel, and Usha Vance became targets of racist responses online. That tells us the problem is not limited to anonymous comment sections. It can spill into conversations around public figures, political debates, and mainstream news coverage. Example scenario. Imagine a person who posts a reasonable comment about immigration policy. Within minutes, the replies shift from disagreement to insults about nationality or ethnicity. That is the line between debate and abuse. And for the person receiving it, the experience can feel overwhelming, even if the accounts are relatively few. Example scenario. A student or worker sees one viral post and thinks, everyone believes this. But when you look closer, the engagement may be coming from a concentrated set of accounts repeating the same message. That is why context matters. Viral is not the same as representative. Why is this happening now? There are a few likely reasons. First, immigration has become a bigger political issue, and H-1B discussions are especially combustible because they connect jobs, technology, and national identity. Second, social platforms reward strong emotions. Third, if a few accounts coordinate or keep posting at high volume, They can create the impression of a much larger wave. Myth versus reality. Myth: if a topic is trending, it must reflect the majority view. Reality: a trend can be artificially amplified by a handful of very active users. That is why researchers look not just at volume, but also at who is posting, how often, and how engagement is spread. So, what should viewers take away from this? First, this is a real online harassment issue. Second, it is also a data issue. Third, it is a reminder to be careful before assuming a viral thread represents the whole country. If you are an Indian American, an H-1B worker, a student, or a family member watching this, here is the practical part. Do this. Screenshot and document abusive content if you need a record. Use platform tools to report harassment. Tighten your privacy settings if your account is being targeted, and follow credible sources before reacting to a single viral post. Avoid this. Do not engage with every troll. Do not assume every comment is worth answering, and do not share hateful content just to condemn it, because that can still boost the reach. If you are an employer, school administrator, or community leader, this is also a moment to check your messaging. Clear communication matters. When policy debate turns ugly, people often need reassurance, not more noise. Small, calm updates can lower panic and reduce the spread of misinformation. Myth versus reality. Myth: more engagement means more public support. Reality: engagement can also mean outrage, harassment, or coordinated amplification. Those are very different things. What could happen next? We may see more scrutiny of platform moderation, more discussion about how extremist or hateful content spreads, and possibly more attention on how immigration debates are framed online. We may also see pushback from Indian American voices and allies who want to separate legitimate policy debate from racism. If the controversy grows, expect more studies, more fact-checking, and more public conversation about who is driving what. Here is the calm recap. The study says anti-Indian rhetoric on X has increased sharply. A small number of accounts appear to be driving a large share of the engagement. The surge seems linked, at least in part, to heated immigration debates and high-profile public conversations. Indian Americans remain a highly successful immigrant community, but success does not make people immune to online abuse. And the most important thing right now is to separate real trend data from viral noise. Don't panic. Stay alert, stay informed, and check the sources before you share the next viral claim. If you want clear, calm updates on U.S. immigration, policy shifts, and the stories behind the headlines, subscribe and turn on notifications so you do not miss the next one.